Hi.
Hello and welcome to Knock Knock Hi with the Glaucomfleckens. I am your host, Will Flannery, also known as Dr. Glaucomflecken.
And I am your host, Kristen Flannery, also known as Lady Glaucomflecken.
Well, we did it. We heard your recommendations. We read your emails. Yes. We read your comments on all the social media platforms. Mm-hmm. And we invited a veterinarian to talk with us today. We did it. We're delving into the world of non-human medicine.
That's right.
And it is exciting. It's fun, very similar in a lot of ways, but also very different in others. Today we are talking to Dr. Rachel Courville. She is a veterinarian and content creator living in Chicago. She's got a great social media presence. She's on Instagram and TikTok, and it just great vet content. I feel like we need good human doctor content. We need good animal doctor content too. And so,
and there's a lot of overlap between the two. I think you can learn from each other, and you know, there's a lot of people that are pet parents.
I've come across a couple of her TikToks. She's Bella Vet on TikTok, and the algorithm has fed me a little animal content. The kids like to watch like the dogs and the cats and the funny things they do. And I learned as a pet owner, I did learn a thing or two about animals and animal medicine.
Nice.
And how do you feel about our dog since talking with our guest today?
You mean your dog? You keep making this mistake.
Maybe I'm just wishful thinking that this could share the load. And it's a big load.
Look, he does
he
have
makes
a big
load too.
Yes, he does. And that is exactly why we set these terms of negotiation around pet parenthood.
Is it because
you are a single pet parent?
Is it because you had so many pets growing up?
Look, here's the deal. I had country pets. We lived out in the country. Country pets and city pets is a whole different thing. Country pets live outside. They poop outside. You don't have to pick it up. You know,
your stories about your country pets are hilarious.
Yeah. Oh boy, I do have some country pet stories. I found, I was going through some old sentimental items because I was looking for something I had written when I was a kid. Didn't find it, but I did find some letters that I had written to my grandparents. And, you know, one of them, it's like just little updates about my life. I don't know, given the events described, I'm going to guess I was maybe 10, you know. Just filling her in on stuff. And, oh, by the way, Chauncey and Stash, that was a dog and a cat that we had, they both got run over by a car, and they're dead now. But anyway,
school's
going good. How are you guys? God. It was just like a fact of life. Like, you are attached to your pets, but, you know.
You had so many. You would just collect anything that came into the yard.
Not me. This is not me. This is my mom. Yeah. Yes. And this probably does go into, like, we had, I can't even count how many dogs and cats we had. We had rabbits, we had chickens, we had horses, we had a cow at one point, and we did not have a farm.
Yeah.
This was all like in our front yard that the cow lived.
The best story, though, is the time that a bobcat snatched up your pet cat. What was that cat's name?
So that was a stray that adopted us, and it made these squeaking sounds a lot, and so we named it Grinsant, which in French and who knows? This is probably like we were 12 using early versions of the internet to figure this out, so maybe that's not right, but to our understanding that meant squeaky. So it's essentially his name was Squeaky. She got drug off by a bobcat one day. And we were like, well,
tends to happen.
That's the end of that cat.
Yeah.
Didn't think too much of it. And then she came back a little while later, pregnant. And then she had a litter of kittens, and my younger brother got attached to one of the kittens, and so we kept one.
They were born without tails.
Because
they were like half bobcat.
And this one was really like, it was just like this ball of fur. And so we named it Chunk.
Yeah.
And so Chunk was with our family for a good long while. And for a while, it was the two of them, Chunk and his mother. And they would go out hunting. And
Yeah.
they were really good hunters. And, oh gosh,
I met Chunk. That
you
was when
met
I came
Chunk.
into the picture because you still had Chunk.
Yes.
And he was like, he would just like be outside for days.
Yep.
And then he'd come back and just start like yowling on the
Yes.
porch
One time.
with a whole rabbit in his gut.
Yes. And he was just in so much pain from eating like an entire rabbit. And he was just sitting there like, oh, on the porch. But yeah, he would bring his treasures home and,
Yeah.
his trophies.
Good memories
Birds
of
and
Chunk.
squirrels and rabbits and all sorts of things. Yeah, we had all kinds of pets, and my dad worked in the agricultural industry. Both my parents really. So
Yeah.
that's all a long story to say. This is why I washed my hands of being any kind of pet owner because I've had enough.
Well, let's get to our guest who deals with pets and animals on a daily basis.
I like pets. I want to put that
Yeah.
out there because otherwise I'm going to get a bunch of hate
No.
mail.
You love
I
love
like
our
pets.
dog.
I do love our dog.
You love that I do all the.
I just didn't
like,
want the
chores.
responsibilities associated with it. So that was the deal we made. We
You're a
can
big
get a
animal
pet
lover.
if I don't have to do
Exactly.
it. But yes.
All right.
Oh, and there he's got
Speaking of
something to
which.
say about that. He's
He-
like, hey.
He knows we're talking about him.
Yeah.
So, all right, let's get to it. Here is Dr. Rachel Courville. All right, we are here with Rachel Courville, Dr. Courville, veterinarian extraordinaire out of Chicago. Thank you so much for joining us.
Of course. Thank you so much for having me.
I can't tell you how many emails and messages that we get.
Mhm.
I probably get more emails from veterinarians
Uh-huh.
than any human doctor ever has, telling me that we have to talk to, we discuss whatever it is. We have
Mhm.
to talk about animal medicine. So that's
Absolutely.
what we're getting. We're so excited. So again, thank you for taking the time.
Of course. I'm so excited.
My first question for you:
hmm
do animals have health insurance?
Some of them do.
Really?
It's not universal in any shape or form, but pet insurance has been becoming a bit more popular over the last 5 to 10 years. And I spent my first year of practice in emergency medicine. Now I'm in general practice, and I've seen some crazy stuff. And I am a huge, huge supporter of pet insurance for everybody.
Yeah. Okay. Are there like large evil corporations that are in the animal health insurance game like there are in people?
There are some that I like better than others. I'll just say it that way. But there are a few that I really love. Trupanion is one of them. They're
Yeah.
incredible. And that's what I have for my dog. And yeah, some cover more than others. But I think ethically, there's a lot of good in pet insurance just because
Mhm.
all of it's reimbursement based, at least for the vast majority of cases. And so that connection to the hospital there's no one telling me what I can or can't do. It's a matter of like, I do whatever I think is best. And then the owner submits all of their receipts and just sees what they get covered, kind of a thing. So it's like
Yeah.
being out of network, sort of.
You don't have prior authorizations. you have
No
to deal
prior
with?
authorization.
What are Kristen? What are the chances that that Rachel here convinces human doctors to become animal doctors? Do you think
Oh.
Do you think that's a possibility?
I mean, just on that alone, maybe. No prior auth. That'd be pretty
Yeah.
big.
Yeah, there's
What
a lot
is-
of
The
I-
prep.
time you get back.
Yeah, well, we're always talking to human physicians about
Mhm.
why their motivations for going to medicine or choosing different fields.
Yeah.
So what was it about veterinary medicine for you
Ah.
that put you on this path?
Yeah. Well, I think the easiest thing to say is humans are gross, and I didn't want to practice on them.
I couldn't agree more.
Okay, hold on. But did you see what was coming out of our dog's ass?
I think any
like 2
any
weeks
living
ago.
thing is kind of gross.
Yeah,
I'm
Alright.
sorry.
I agree with that as well. I guess in my level of grossness, I can stomach all the animal stuff. People stuff, I think that connection is just a little too close for me. So I guess that's more answering why I didn't go into human medicine, but why I went into veterinary medicine. I was it's kind of a classic vet story. I was 5 years old. My aunt was a vet tech at the time, and she gave me a tour of our local pet's office, and I was hook, line, sinker subscribed. And then as I got older, I was 13 when I watched my first spay surgery. And then I started working at the vet clinic. And then kind of in high school, my love of math and science grew. And I was like, oh, wait, I'm actually going to do this. Okay. That's kind of how it happened.
Awesome.
Mm-hmm.
And what is the training like?
Yeah.
So start with college.
Yeah. I laugh because my path is slightly different than some. So in college, it's a 4-year degree in undergrad, and then it's a 4-year degree in grad school, a doctorate. And then cool thing about veterinary medicine is it's optional to specialize. Once you graduate with a DVM, you can go into general practice. You can sometimes go into ER depending on the hospital's requirements, and then you can go on to specialize. Some people do an internship straight out and then go on to specialize. So I would say maybe 20-30% of my class specialized, and the rest went into general practice, either large or small animal. But I joke that my path was a little bit different because I'm technically a college dropout. And I say that in the least serious way possible, because my mom is an accountant, and the girl likes to save money, and she saw an opportunity when I was like a sophomore in college, and she said, hey, only like 10 vet schools actually require a bachelor's degree. And I was like, Mom, are you telling me to drop out of school and like get in early or try? And she was like, yeah, it would save you an entire year's worth of tuition. And so we crammed all of my undergrad, like my prereq classes into 3 years. And then I applied a year early, didn't expect to get in. I thought it would just be a practice run, and got into 3 schools. And then I was like, well, I guess we're doing this. And so
that's awesome.
Yeah.
Oh, that's funny.
Hey, just accelerated the end goal there a little bit. That's good.
Save some money. Very astute mom.
And so now, and a question I've always wanted to ask a veterinarian: what exactly is the scope of, as far as animals, that you take care of in a day-to-day?
Well, for me, I take care of dogs and cats. That's from a practical knowledge standpoint. If someone put a bunny in front of me, I would like maybe be able to open a textbook and get through it, but I would be like looking stuff up every step of the way, because I haven't had anyone mentor me through those kinds of things, or exotic medicine, as we call it. And but we can do small animal, large animal, any domesticated pet is, or animal in the food industry or the fiber industry or any of those things are under our scope, as long as you've had proper training and kind of on the job mentorship for those things. We also do wildlife to an extent. Zoo medicine is a specialty in veterinary medicine, and so there's really not any animal that we don't do, except humans. But it's just a matter of for certain species, there's a higher level of training that you should have and that you need to work with them.
So you got zoo medicine. There's, I know that there's like large, like horses, right? That's like a separate area, I guess.
Yeah. So
you could specialize in a particular animal. Is that what that is?
To an extent.
I think so.
Yeah. So when you graduate, a lot of people ask you in veterinary medicine, if they're, your professor or something, do you want to go large or small animal? And those are kind of the 2 main distinctions. And some schools do what's called tracking, where you can take fewer classes in the one that you're not interested in, more classes in the one that you're interested in. Mine didn't do that. So I was in there with the horses and the pigs and the cows too. And our national veterinary licensing exam covers all of them as well. And so that's kind of the 2 big distinctions. And if you say small animal, and then that's usually just dogs and cats, but there's a little subsect of that called exotics, where it's, your bunnies, reptiles, all of those guys that I don't personally do, but I've worked with veterinarians who do, and it's so much fun to see them come into the hospital. Get to hang out with them.
Now, Dr. Courville, how often do you see people come in to see you, humans that look like their dogs?
It's not uncommon.
Yes, because we have that little situation going on in our house.
Oh, do you?
We have a standard poodle.
Okay.
All right. Okay. His name is Milo, and we look a bit alike.
They both have curly hair, of course. Milo's hair is brown mixed with silver.
There you go.
I'll just let you use your eyeballs here. Uh,
I see it.
they both are all arms and legs.
Yes.
Prominent elbows.
I'm an ophthalmologist, and my dog has eye problems.
Oh, what do they have?
So he has he had entropion.
Okay.
So eyelid issues, and I think he was. We rescued him.
Okay.
And you probably get so tired of people like doing this,
No.
Telling you about the dog.
It's like human medicine. Like, I swear, it's like
Yeah.
you go to like a
can you
family
take
reunion.
Look at this
Like, can you look at my
Yeah.
rash? Yeah. You tell me, I've had this weird thing happen to me. You probably get everybody's talking about their pets to you.
It does happen quite a bit. I like to say there's a circle. There's your inner circle, and I'll invite you guys into the inner circle. You get a free pass. Friends and family are in the inner circle. They can ask me a weird question. I'll do my best to answer it. It's not legal medical advice. And then, but yeah, the ex-boyfriend from high school is not in the inner circle. And when he texts me, I just say, go to your vet. I'm sorry, I can't help you. Mhm.
Well, what we'll do, I won't talk about how me and my dog look alike. Instead, I want to talk about the time that you did bloodletting on a cat.
Yeah, that if you had told me when I graduated that would be a thing that I would do for a legitimate medical reason, I would have just laughed in your face. And yeah, so it was a little cat named Tiny. Yep, aptly named. And Tiny came in because her parents were saying she was walking a little funny and just not wanting to jump as much. And so I was like, oh, maybe some orthopedic thing, maybe a sprained muscle or something like that. And in cats, if they walk, all dogs and cats should be walking on their tiptoes, and if they walk with their heels down, it basically flags a couple diseases, diabetes and kidney issues mainly. That tends to happen. And so that was like floating in the back of my head of like, okay, we'll do some labs to, rule those things out. The cat was otherwise fine, neurologically, like pretty okay. And then I got the blood work back the next day, and I was like, hey, we've done some testing, got the blood work back the next day. And the hematocrit, or the percent of red blood cells in this cat's body, I don't know the exact reference ranges off the top of my head, but it shouldn't be more than like 45% around there. And it was 75%. And this cat's blood was kind of, once it gets that thick with red blood cells, it becomes kind of sludgy. And so I called a specialist at the lab being like, how urgent do I have to be about this? Because I'd never seen it before. And they were like, oh, send it to the emergency room now. And I was like, oh, okay, but I'm going to call you back. And so I sent the cat to the emergency room, and because what it had was polycythemia, which is way too many red blood cells. And then you have to figure out why the cat's making so many. If there's something wrong with your heart, you can do that. If there's something wrong with your lungs, if you have a kidney tumor, or if your bone marrow just kicks out way too many, it's kind of like a cancer, but kind of not. It's a oopsie-daisy of the bone marrow. And
I like that. That is the technical medical term.
Yes,
oopsie-daisy of the bone marrow.
Very specific. And so it went to the ER. It got phlebotomy and a bunch of testing. We ruled out everything but the heart stuff because we need to schedule to see a cardiologist. And the scheduling took a few. In where I'm at, a cardiologist can be a hard person to get an appointment with. And so took a while. And what can happen if the blood is too sludgy for too long is you can't get oxygen to the brain. You can start having seizures. And so that's the danger zone we wanted to stay out of. And how we did that is I became good at this. The first time was a little rough. The second time was much better. Put a catheter in each arm, and you take out a certain amount of blood as you're putting in fluids to make sure the blood pressure doesn't drop. And it was very strange. And phlebotomy, removal of bloodletting, it's all technically that same stuff. And it was so strange for my nurses who were I was monitoring sedation and all that, and they were just pulling blood out of this cat, and they would get 10 mils of blood, which is a lot for a cat. You usually only need about 2 to run tests and stuff. And they'd be like, you mean to tell me I throw this away now? And I was like, yes. And it was, I love Tiny. She was a spicy lady, so she had to be kind of sedated no matter what you do. And so it's very strange to tell your nurse that on a aggressive cat to just dump the blood that you just took. It is just when against everything in their brain to be like, no, the sample. And I was like, yeah, that's what we got to do. And yeah.
Did you have to keep doing it?
So
Like multiple?
we had to keep doing it until she got her cardiac appointment, because if she had a heart condition, basically the treatment for the bone marrow condition is a very, very powerful drug that makes your bone marrow go down, and or the levels of it. And so you don't want to start that drug if you're not absolutely sure what's going on.
Right.
And so we had to rule out the heart stuff. And then once we were able to do that, then I was also under the guise of an internist doing all of this. We were able to start that very powerful drug, and she's doing much better.
So you mentioned cardiologist, internist,
Yeah.
so maybe the reason that people keep telling me to feature a veterinarian is because I guess that means people are actually watching my content with all the human doctors. And so you mentioned the cardiologist. Do you see overlap in like personalities? Is it between human medicine and animal medicine?
1,000%. And I spent my first year of practice in a pretty big specialty hospital, and I was in the emergency department. And let's just say your neurologist impression is spot on.
Oh my God. That's awesome.
And there is, I just remember in vet school, we had these orthopedic surgeons who would do Movembeard together, and they would do CrossFit together, and they were just absolute ortho bros. And it wasn't the emergency medicine physician, but one of the surgeons would show up in full biking outfits with the helmet on. And so the day that I saw that character, I was like, are you kidding me? This is so specific. So yeah, it's pretty darn accurate. And so that's how I kind of stumbled across your content.
Oh, that is funny.
Is there a veterinarian psychiatrist?
We call them behavioralists, because
Okay.
things get a little harder to do when you can't actually talk to your patients.
That's right.
But it doesn't stop them from having behavioral issues. Especially for some of our COVID pups that may or may not have some separation anxiety. It's not uncommon for me to prescribe some Prozac for those kiddos. And so we do use a lot of those medications. If things kind of start to get out of my wheelhouse with that, then I'll send them to a behavioralist if they're really an aggressive pet that we need to, do things with. And there's a ton of help that can be done. Behavior is a very cool specialty in veterinary medicine.
Yeah. And that requires like an extra year of training or?
Yeah. So I don't know. It's kind of like human medicine, how some specialties are a longer run than others. Most specialties require a 1-year internship, like a rotating internship through all of the specialties. Gotcha. And then after that, typically a 3 to 4 year residency. And I believe that's true for behavior. And I know that's true for all of like surgery, ophthalmology, cardiology, all of those guys.
Do you have scribes?
I wish.
Is that a thing?
I very much wish I do. I don't. That would make my life 1,000 times easier, especially given how behind I may or may not be on my medical records at this current moment in time. But I have a friend who works for an ER in Chicago, and they don't have one scribe per doctor. Like, you're kind of lucky if you get a scribe that shift. Yeah. But she says the shifts with their scribes are just much smoother, and I'm always jealous of her when she gets
universally beloved, the scribe, the medical scribe. Now, I imagine also your job has just been challenging because of the pandemic, because like everyone was getting dogs and cats, right?
Absolutely.
What I just want to know, like, what was that like in the veterinary community? Because I imagine, I mean, it's hard to bring your pet in to see somebody kind of
it's
urgently.
Hard to find openings.
And
I imagine it's because there's so many pets now.
There are a lot of pets now. Right in the thick of it, we all went curbside, so you could bring your pet in, but all of our discussion would be through the phone, because we still, while dogs and cats couldn't really catch or transmit COVID, they're like some rare case studies, but it wasn't really a thing. We weren't worried about that so much, but the humans basically infecting our team members, we had to be really careful about that so that we could stay in practice and not have everybody out sick. And so curbside practice was my entire first and like half of my second year of practice was over the phone. It felt really strange
Oh my
to
gosh.
once we got back into using exam rooms. I'm like, what's an exam room? How do I use it? How's this flow going to work? And so that was a really big part of it. And then I think also like, the pandemic was exceptionally hard on everybody. And it was also really hard on the veterinary staff. And especially in the emergency room, it's hard to trust someone with your pet. That's just this kind of faceless, it's all over the phone. It's really hard to do that. And so I think there's been a big like a staffing shortage in veterinary medicine. So that's kind of contributed to some of the difficulties in getting appointments, I think. But, we're all just doing our best out here.
I know. Yeah, exactly. And staffing, I mean, it's everywhere. Like everybody's got, staffing issues, and it's just been so challenging. But it seems like there's just a lot of COVID puppies, and
absolutely,
everybody's home and needs to. I don't know why, but
needs a companion.
Yeah, well, it was lonely. Yeah,
so
it's a companion. Yeah,
needs somebody and be there.
Kind of right in the middle of the pandemic there, and all veterinarians kind of knew this was going to be happening. Is you're home all day with your pet, and then you have to go back to work 8 hours a day. A lot of those pets didn't do so well with that transition, and so we saw a lot of anxiety in those pets. But yeah, there are a lot of COVID dogs, and I like to say, at least during the pandemic, it was kind of cute. I feel like the COVID pet parent was, before then a pet parent would be like, oh, I think this is wrong, or he's been doing this for a few days. And then what I noticed during the pandemic is like they would look at you funny, and then you'd be in my exam room and they'd be like, I don't know, he blinked twice in a way that he had never before, and here's my dog. And I'd be like, it's okay. And so they were very cautious parents, which I would much rather have than the alternative. But it was an interesting time for sure.
And you have some also some interesting experiences outside of dogs and cats. You teased us on a little story about of laying the law down at a horse show.
Yep. So to get experience hours for vet school, you don't want to just work with the animal that you eventually want to work with. Like if I only had dog and cat experience, they would probably say, hey, your application isn't quite done yet. And so I went and got horse experience, and I found this really amazing veterinarian who was the head, the head testing vet at a horse show, because believe it or not, some people do use performance enhancing drugs illegally on their horses. And which is just a wild thing to wrap my brain around.
Like a roided out horse?
Yeah, what I mean, like racehorses, right?
Yeah. And
what kind of performance enhancing drugs? Like what are they? Are they
testosterone?
I didn't know, but I'll just keep it to kind of generalizations of there were two types of sporting events in this specific show, and one needed to go fast and one needed to be perfect. And so you would do uppers for the ones that needed to go fast and downers for the ones that needed to be perfect. So yeah.
Perfect is the horse dancing, probably?
Yeah, I think so. I think they had
dressage.
Dressage. Yes. So you don't want them getting too skittish.
Yeah.
Right.
And so she was the head vet for doing that. I was what they called a drug testing technician, which is a glorified pee catcher. And so I just had the biggest urine collection kit you've ever seen, like cup. And I would just wait there because racehorses are trained to pee on command with a whistle, and all of the other horses that was not. Yeah. So they'll make them pee right before a race. I think I could be wrong. I'm not a horse person, but to, lighten the load maybe before a race.
Well, that makes sense,
right.
Yeah.
I can't run very fast when I gotta pee.
Yeah.
Yeah. I mean, well, there is that expression. You got to pee like a racehorse.
Yeah. There you
Yes.
go. And so these horses did not have that skill, unfortunately. So I would just have to wait in the 90-degree heat, and with my little cup.
Oh, no.
And it was.
Do you have to be just holding it there the whole time?
Well,
or
you
do they
never
give you
know.
some kind of cue? Like, if it were the other end,
The
they might
horses
lift
lift
their
their
tail
Yeah.
or something. Is there something
Sometimes
you can watch
they
for?
stretch forward a little bit. We had all the tricks
Okay.
too. They really like peeing on fresh bedding. If you'd been there for a while, then the people that own the horse might come around with some fresh bedding because they just love peeing on it. So that's how I got
Humans and animals, so similar.
Toddlers anyway.
Yeah. And but the interesting part about this story, or the kind of crux of it, is the veterinarian that I worked with moved to immigrate to the United States from Germany when she was 16. So she's a fluent German speaker, but you wouldn't really know it talking to her. And we had people all around the world who flew in for this horse show. It was a very big deal. And so we randomly selected this one horse. I said, hey, I have to follow you back to the barn. And I did. And for the first 30 minutes or so, they were very nice to me. And one thing my vet told me, as training before this day, she said, if anyone's mean to you, they have no reason to be. They've something's going on if anyone's rude to you. And so for the first 30 minutes, they were okay. And then they were saying, hey, like, how long is this going to take? I got to get back to the hotel. I have to do this, I have to do that. Like, coming and kind of pressuring me. And I was like, well, it's going to take as long as it takes for your horse to pee. I'm not really in the driver's seat here. And so I was telling her that. And then she was getting really, pressuring with me. And so I said, you know what, my vet can just come by and take some blood, and then you'll be on your way. And then she kind of backed off. And when my vet walked in the room and into the barn, this woman was on the phone speaking German. And my vet's eyes, she looked at me and she was overhearing half of this conversation, and her eyes widened. And she goes, I'm really glad we got a sample. And I go, oh, what? And I'm so clueless in this moment. And then she gets her sample, she walks off, and then we have lunch later together. And I go, so what happened? What was all of that? And she said, when she was on the phone with her trainer in German, she said, hey, we gave XYZ all illegal drugs this morning. And she heard that because she spoke German. And so we never would have known. Just be, I guess, word to the criminal, be very wise at what language you're speaking and who's around. They got
assume.
Yeah, they got disqualified from their, multiple $1,000 Grand Prix. So.
Oh, wow.
Jeez. All right. Lesson learned. Learn German.
Yeah, learn German.
That is the lesson of that story.
Right?
Yeah.
Well, the other thing I wanted to ask you about, which is something that we're constantly dealing with as physicians in medicine, is misinformation.
Yeah.
And especially with the advent of TikTok, it's kind of everywhere. Anybody can get up on social media.
TikTok specifically, to be fair. Social media
in general. But it seems amplified since the pandemic, and part of that is because you have this new social media network called TikTok that's like the fastest growing social media network.
Right.
So yeah, but it is everywhere. And so I'm seeing things about eyeballs all the time, and like of course I get tagged in everything that's like eyeball related, and so I'm like, oh yeah, that's not right, or that's incorrect. I'm sure you probably
don't tattoo your eyeball.
Yeah, exactly. Stop, staring at the sun, all these things. And so how do you get frustrated? I'm sure you see stuff all the time about dogs and cats and vet care and all this stuff. So tell me a little bit about your experience.
Yeah, it's quite interesting. There's a lot of overlap. There's, anti-vaxxers and vet med too, that there's also a decent, I really do love breeders, and I think they do an amazing job, but some of the bad seeds are out there, and they are the first person to inform a new pet owner. And then when they come to see me for their first appointment, sometimes there's quite a bit of undoing I have to do to say, oh, they told me never to get this one vaccine. And I'm like, well, the odds of a vaccine reaction to that are pretty low. The odds of getting it and it being life-threatening is much higher. And so the pros very much outweigh the cons, even if something, few things in medicine are without risk. So we usually have a pretty big heart-to-heart if they send them with a giant do's and don'ts list. And so that can be pretty frustrating. And they can get all that same information, that bias from social media. I would say the biggest one that I see on social media, though, and I kind of joke with my fellow, social media friends that if you ever want engagement, you just talk about pet food. That's just, you just say, hey, I think the super normal pet food is a good idea. And everybody, it gets crazy town. But I would say when I tell,
I've
pet
seen
owners
that so many times.
Yeah. When I tell pet owners, they're like, oh, what kind of food should I get? And I'm like, hey, these are my favorite brands, but just get food that's cooked and that has grains in it. There's a heart disease thing with grain-free diets lately, and that's completely balanced. That follows these. It's called the AFCO guidelines, and those I was like, those are my bare minimums. It's a very low bar to pass.
Yeah.
So yeah, it's just with raw diets, there's an increased risk of foodborne illness, and with grain-free diets, it's very much still under research, but there's been a link to certain heart conditions, and so we just got to be careful until we know the full picture there.
The raw food I get like that is very in line with this whole, natural, clean
Hmm.
eating thing in the human world. But why the
Yeah,
grain free? Is that like the
grain-free.
keto for pets?
Yeah. So, to my understanding, the grain-free movement, I think, kind of stemmed off the gluten-free trend a while ago, and I do
Hmm.
realize there's celiac disease, and that's very legitimate for some people. But in dogs, they it came out with this trend of grain-free diets, like grains were some bad thing, and they're just not. And so what started happening, and usually with trends in nutrition and in pet food, I just say, sure, fine, as long as it's not hurting your pet anyway. And there's only a few trends that kind of aren't the best idea from a health
Mhm.
standpoint. And so when I first heard about grain free diets, I was like, whatever, it'll pass. It's just a trend. And then veterinary cardiologists started seeing what's called dilated cardiomyopathy, where your heart balloons out so much that it can't pump properly. And it usually happens in two breeds. I think Doberman's is one of them. And it's kind of a genetic predisposition thing. And then we started seeing it happen in a bunch of breeds that weren't ever historically affected by this, and in big numbers. And so a lot of the cardiologists, they were the first whistleblowers, I suppose, about it. And they said, whoa, we're starting to see a trend here. This isn't so great. And then the FDA actually looked into it, and they saw a correlation, not a causation, for
Mhm.
certain things. It was grain-free diets, boutique diets, and exotic protein diets. And
Mm.
so they just said, this is a correlation. We don't know what the cause is yet. We don't understand the mechanism behind it, but just be really careful with these diets until we know more. And to my understanding, the current theory is that what they replaced, so they took out grains, they took out, corn, things like that, and they replaced it with peas, legumes, lentils, things like that. And there's a theory that those might be in some level, low level cardiotoxic, because we never fed them to dogs in such high levels before. So maybe we just didn't know.
Mm.
And I could go into the details a little bit more, but yeah.
Can you imagine what would happen if we fed our dog beans?
Oh,
Yeah.
we cannot feed our dog
Yeah.
literally anything except this one
Well,
food.
yeah, I see all these TikToks and things of all these diets, the raw food diets, and it's like, man, my dog seems real happy with kibble. I don't
Yeah.
know. Like that's
Well, and if
he's
we give him anything else, literally anything else,
Aw.
even if it's meant for dogs, it's
Mhm.
like his colon explodes.
Yep. My dog is the exact same way. If she doesn't stay on her very specific kibble, if I give her a piece of lettuce, if I give her anything, she'll vomit 24 hours later. I don't understand it, but it's a thing that happens. And yeah, I would say anything about nutrition, I would take it back to what my nutritionist said in our nutrition class, a board certified nutritionist in veterinary medicine. He would say dogs need nutrients, not ingredients, and they need
Mm.
certain amount of protein and fat and carbs and all of those things and vitamins, but they don't need it specifically to come from, a chicken foot. They can do fine to come from any of these sources. And so I think that's what
Yeah,
mainly I see a lot of the misinformation about, is they say, oh, I have to feed this one very specific ingredient and
right.
it's super good and my dog will live forever. And it's like, if we had that, we would be screaming it from the rooftops, as veterinarians would. And so we just have to go with what the nutritionists say.
Yeah. It
Some of
really is very similar to like babies and toddlers and stuff, right?
yeah.
Mhm.
Anti-vaxxing, what you're feeding them, all this stuff. Like it's
Yeah.
the same
Some
issues.
some of the diets, some of these dogs on TikTok, like they eat better than like I've ever eaten in
Yeah.
my
Yeah.
life.
Yeah.
Like
Same.
they're getting like filet mignon and it's just out of control. Let's
Yeah.
let's take a break and
Mhm.
we'll be right back with Dr. Rachel Courville. Hey Kristen, what do you got there?
Well, you may not know this as an ophthalmologist, but this is called a stethoscope.
Yeah, I know what a stethoscope is. I also know it's supposed to go in your ears and not sitting on top of your headphones.
No, I like it better this way. Besides, this is not just any stethoscope.
Mm.
This is the Echo Core 500 digital stethoscope
Ah,
with 3-lead ECG.
I've heard about these things.
Yeah.
40 times noise amplification,
That's right.
noise cancellation,
Mhm.
3 audio filter
You
modes,
know it.
and a full color display.
Yeah, buddy.
60 hours of battery life, too.
That's right.
Everybody loves a good battery life, and it's durable.
That's right.
Awesome. We have a special offer for our audience here in the U.S. Learn more at ecohealth.com/KKH. That's ekohealth.com/KKH and use code KNOCK50 for a 75-day risk-free trial and a free case and free shipping to the continental U.S. to get your Core 500 stethoscope. Hey, Kristen, can I interest you in a Demodex mite?
No, you may not.
You know what these little guys do?
What?
They cause Demodex Blepharitis, which makes your eyelids like red, irritated, itchy.
That's gross.
Well, you can get checked out. Your eye doctor can look and see if you have them.
My eye doctor is currently covered in them.
And I can find out for you.
Oh, good.
To find out more about Demodex, go to eyelidcheck.com. Again, that's EYELID check.com to get more information about Demodex Blepharitis. Don't get freaked out. Get checked out. All right, we are back with Dr. Courville. So, Rachel, you told us something that really piqued my interest, that you on occasion will find medications and drugs on the black market.
That
during the course of your job.
I do my best to not do that, but there's one instance where it's weird. I'll explain everything, I promise. But I feel unethical if I don't talk about it with a pet owner, and so it's uncomfortable for me to do, and everybody in that room is uncomfortable when that happens, but I kind of have to.
So what leads to that? Why are we?
Well, what was it exactly, if you can tell us? And then also, how on earth do you find the black market?
What do you Google?
I would love to tell you. So there's a disease in veterinary medicine that affects cats. It's called FIP. It's feline infectious peritonitis. Fibrinous infectious peritonitis. I just had cats on the brain. And it is a coronavirus, but it's nothing like COVID. And it is an enteric or GI coronavirus. So it's basically a virus. This cat gets a virus. It gives them diarrhea for maybe a couple days, and then they get better, and nobody ever knows that it had that virus. And so that's what happens. It's endemic in cats. It's so many cats have this, and it's usually no big deal until that virus mutates within the cat's body, and it's not really spread cat to cat after that happens, but it mutates and becomes really, really bad. And the body basically starts overreacting to this virus. It makes the blood vessels really leaky, and one of the ways it works is it can put a lot of fluid into the belly, and then they have abdominal effusion, and that's really uncomfortable and can make the cat feel really sick. And then there's a bunch of other things that can happen that it can be a really life-threatening thing. They can get anemia and liver disease. And about 5 years ago, maybe a little bit more, at the time I was in vet school, but if we had a case like this, the topic would be helping the cat feel comfortable and probably euthanasia. It was a uncurable thing. The best you could really do is make them feel comfortable for whatever amount of time they had left, but it was a terminal disease. And then about when I was in vet school, we started hearing about this drug that was curing cats of FIP, and we were like, what? And it was a very strong antiviral. It's called GS, and then there are a bunch of numbers after that. And there's no legal way to obtain it. It's they got it from China, and it is produced by a major drug company. It was created by a major drug company, but it was never brought to market. And I did a lot of research on it this past week because a little 20-week-old kitten came to me, very cute, fluffy little thing, and it had a 105 fever and a belly full of fluid. And I said, this is FIP until proven otherwise. And we sent out a bunch of testing, and it's FIP. And and we removed the fluid from its belly. We did a bunch of labs to confirm everything. And my conversation with the owner goes a little something like, hey, your cat has a disease that used to be terminal, and now it's not. And there is a drug that has an 80% cure rate, just about. And I can't not tell you about it ethically from that standpoint. And so I usually say, there is a Facebook group where you can, and I tell them the name, and you can go and look for it. It used to be something that they had to inject on a daily basis to their cats. So you have to do at-home injections, which is a huge thing. And now it has come in pill form, and now there have been studies done on that as well. And, University of California, Davis is researching this drug. So there are some very legitimate research behind it. But I said, this is the website that you can try to find it on. And then I say, that's where I stop. And, there are some people in those places that will tell you when you need blood work and things like that. And I'm happy to do that blood work, but I can't help you give the drug. I can't help you get the drug, all of those things. Cause legal. And, but she called up her breeder from this cat, and another cat in the litter also had it and was already on treatment. And this treatment used to cost thousands and thousands of dollars, like per dose. And so it was exorbitantly expensive. And now it is still expensive, but much less than it used to be. And I was talking to the owners, and they were prepared and ready to do everything. And they said, hey, we already have it shipped to our house like the next day. And I said, okay, great. Let me know when you need me next. And I was reading some of the studies behind this, and one of them said it's a 12-week treatment. And they said the cats should essentially be back to normal in the first 2 to 4 weeks. And then they finish it out with a 12-week treatment. And we had another client in our hospital go through this treatment a few years ago. And they specifically said, hey, if you diagnose any of these cats, I give my information to any of those owners if they want it. So I called her up and I said, hey, I diagnosed this pet. Are you okay if I share emails or something? And she said, absolutely. And I said, oh, how's your cat doing? And she goes, he's perfect. He's sitting right next to me. Perfectly fine.
Oh,
and I
man.
was just
Wow.
like, whoa. And so while I always do my best to get and prescribe, this is really literally the only drug that this happens with. I just feel it's ethically, I have to tell someone about this.
Yeah.
Sounds
If
like
it works so well, why
sounds
didn't
like
it go to
shouldn't.
market?
Yeah, it shouldn't be black market.
Yeah, there's a theory. This is more gossip in the veterinary community, but there's a theory that the company that developed it also developed a drug that at one point during the pandemic thought was a good drug to treat COVID. And so they kind of dropped any funding that on the veterinary side and moved it all to the human side, which would be fair for, humans. I love pets. I got a doctorate in them, but, humans are the priority, of course, in that sense.
Well, there you go. So if anybody is looking for any black market medications and need to know where to find those black market medications, just contact your local veterinarian. They probably have a hookup. Just hearing about your world has been great, because I just don't know. There's so many similarities,
right?
But there are also times when human doctors and animal doctors overlap, right?
Yeah, absolutely.
That actually does happen.
Yeah, it does.
We work together from time to time.
Sometimes.
Who are these doctors that are doing this?
Yeah. So there's a idea, and mainly talked about in veterinary medicine, but it's called One Health, and it's kind of this thought that if veterinary medicine and human medicine and the environment are all in line, that it helps everybody. And if one of those things, is being ignored or not, researched well or not taken care of, then, it hurts everybody, right? Those three things depend on each other really, really drastically. And so there are certain times when human doctors and medical and veterinary doctors band together. And one of them, I love this story. It's one of my favorite things is, so cleft palate surgeries is something that humans, it's something that we do in human medicine. It's also something that we do in veterinary medicine. Dogs can get cleft palates too. It's very similar in its mechanism. And so there are these two doctors, I want to say sometime around 2011 in Michigan. the thing with veterinary medicine is we don't always have the funding that our human counterparts have for developing certain things. But we have dogs, and dogs are pretty great because they become adults by about a year, 2 years old. And humans take 18 years to do that. So I think we've got a leg up on you guys, at least in that
Oh,
sense,
yeah.
because
Yeah.
what happens is basically these two surgeons got together and they said, hey, let's do cleft palate surgeries on dogs and let's use these new human techniques, these newly funded techniques on dogs, see how they work. And veterinarians can both, get that training and bring that to our patients, but also we can give the human side of things the research, because we can figure out how those new techniques work out once they've reached adulthood, if it is the best technique. If there's a problem with it, we can find that out within 1 to 2 years rather than 18 on the human side. And so our medicine can work a lot faster sometimes because the lifespan of our pets is shorter, but also to adulthood is shorter too. And so yeah, that was a study done about 10 years ago, and it's just one of my favorite things.
That's awesome.
That is so cool. Yeah, I love when things come together like that because everything in medicine is usually so siloed and separated and specialized and all of that. So I love the thinking about where things can connect.
Yeah.
And I haven't even, are you proud of me? I haven't not asked once about veterinary ophthalmology. Not one
Well,
question.
I feel like we've already had our experience with veterinary ophthalmology.
Well, we did talk about eyelids. That's not
and
totally
our
true.
dog's
But
Tropion. It was close.
we'll save it for next time. But because I want to, I devised a little game for us to play, but then you came in with something that's just so much better, Rachel. And so we're gonna. It's not so much a game, but just like an activity that you're going to enlighten us
Yeah.
about.
I think everyone can relate to who's a dog
everyone
owner
who
in
has
particular.
a dog can relate to this. We're going to play Your Dog Ate What? That's the name of the game. Your dog ate what? And really, it's not even a game. You're just going to tell us the crazy things that dogs have eaten that you've encountered.
I would say the one of my favorite things to do, one of my favorite appointments to have, is to make dogs vomit. Sounds like a weird hobby to have, but I love it so much because it avoids surgery and there's a surprise and side factor, right? And so one of my favorite things is my coworker, another doctor at my clinic, has a little dog named Henry, and we nicknamed him Compost. Actually, before she landed on the name Henry, we already knew his nickname was Compost because the little puppy eats everything, and he's kind of been a bit of our test subject in that sense. And I recently did a video on my TikTok about him and eating his mom's solid gold diamond earrings.
Oh, no.
Which would have been fine, except he pooped one out and then the other one wasn't coming and it got stuck in the stomach. And we're like, okay, where is it? We took an x-ray. It's still in the stomach. We said, great, we'll make him vomit. There's a drug that we can use. It's called apomorphine, and it is all of the nausea-inducing parts of an opioid with none of the fun bits. And so it works.
Worst medication ever.
Yeah. It works miraculously well. And he vomited. He gave her back the earrings. It is TBD if she has worn them yet. And she's a little bit of mental gymnastics to get over that one. And so that's our friend Compost. Compost also does this thing where sometimes after a walk, 2 hours later, he says, hi, Mom. And he's dribbling some urine. And he's walking kind of spazzy. And every time you come near him, there's this thing called hyperesthesia. And it's basically where we have, in ophthalmology, we have something called a menace response, where if you flick your hand in front of a dog's eye, they should close their eye. And it's a reflex that they learn at a very young age. And funny thing about a dog in this condition is if you do it from like 3 feet away and you flick their hand, they're like, whoa. And they're just really, any lights, any movement, they're just really overreactive to, because Henry ate some weed. And It
Oh,
is
yeah.
also one of my favorite types of appointments. Little puppies that eat weed. They're just so cute. And it's also very rarely, if ever, a life-threatening thing. You got to give them some
Yeah.
supportive care, help them ride it out. It is technically a toxin in veterinary medicine. Nobody go home and feed your dog weed. It does
Yes.
not
Right.
work the
Yes.
same way. But they are very adorable cases, and it's nice to console an owner when it's not a veterinarian's dog. Come in and they're like, something's wrong with my puppy. Are they dying? And you're like, nope, they just
Yeah.
ate weed. So,
They're just
I bet that's a pretty
incredibly
common
high.
one.
yeah.
I bet relatively common,
And I would just like to thank the government in a way, at least in Illinois, since legalizing weed, it is so much easier to do my job because when I say, hey, I think your dog ate weed before it was legal, they say, no, it didn't. I don't have any of
Oh,
that at my
yeah,
house.
yeah.
And you're like, you
Oh,
can just
yeah.
tell me. I'm not going to tell on you. And now
Right.
people are much more forthcoming with that information, and I am very happy about it.
Oh, that's a good point. That's a good point.
Yeah.
All right, what else? Do you have anything else? Any other interesting?
I know I do. There was one that I saw that I made fun of. Of course, we have, your chocolate ingestion, your stuff like that. And some of these things, if it's a foreign body, like a big sock, have to go to surgery and get removed.
A sock.
Yep.
Oh, no.
But one of my favorites that I had recently was, it was a medium to large size dog. And this woman brought her dog in and goes, she ate my husband's golf glove. And I was like, okay, all right, we can, how long was this? This was like 30 minutes ago. I'm like, okay, we've got time. We could figure this out. And she goes, she usually shreds things to pieces. So what if we don't need to make her vomit? What if it gets stuck? And I'm like, yeah, but what if it does? We don't really feel like risking that. I'm a very cautious vet. And so we made this dog vomit. I'm very glad we did because there are chunks that were big enough to cause a problem. But this dog ate off every single little finger of the glove, and I could reconstruct it.
Like they're French fries or something.
Yeah, exactly. Just the tastiest little French fries ever. And it was so cute because the mom, because it was her husband's glove, and she goes, I don't even like golf. And she just, she was so mad about it was the golf glove. But
Must be never a dull moment as
Have
a
you
veterinarian.
ever, in fact, seen a dog eat someone's homework?
Oh, I do have a friend with a dog who loves to rip paper. That's about as far as I've gotten. Could that paper possibly be homework? Yes, but also usually is a matter of giving said dog that paper. So I
Most
can't
homework
say.
is now like on
Yeah,
an
now it's all
iPad.
digital, so I guess
Yeah.
that
You ever
can't
had
be
a
used
dog
anymore.
eat a phone?
Yeah,
I
there you
haven't
go.
seen a phone. I have seen an AirPod.
Thumb
though.
drive. Oh,
Oh,
an AirPod.
yeah.
Yep.
Ooh.
And with any
Play music through it.
Yeah,
Yeah.
can put your ear on its stomach and
just like
listen.
connect it to Bluetooth. I've seen that, and some of the X-rays are some of my favorite things because I've seen rubber duckies, and they show up surprisingly well on X-ray. You know exactly what's in there,
yeah.
and
That's
Yeah.
great.
mhm.
Very
Love it.
distinctive shape.
Yep.
Yeah.
All right, well, let's take one more break and come back with a story that is actually from a veterinary surgeon. So we'll be right back.
Ooh.
Hey, Kristen, who's making dinner tonight?
Not it.
It's me again.
Yeah.
I'm not good at it.
Neither am I.
It's just like you can't even really consider what I normally make to be like a meal.
Yeah. One night you made biscuits for
Well,
dinner.
That's
It
true.
was the whole dinner.
But no more because
and you
we
burned
have.
them.
But we have every plate.
That's true.
It's
Thank
great.
goodness.
It's America's best value meal kit. It's 25% cheaper than grocery shopping.
Pretty good.
Yeah, and also you'll love this. Every plate offsets 100% of their delivery emissions, and their meals have a 31% lower carbon footprint on average than supermarket meals of the same portion.
Do love that.
Yeah, environmentally conscious.
Yes.
It's great. They got 26 tasty, affordable recipes of sides, lunches, snacks, desserts. It never ends. And also, what sets every plate apart? All right, they have a lower price point than the other
nice.
options out
More
there.
affordable.
Absolutely. So get $149 per meal by going to everyplate.com/podcast and entering code 49KKH. Get started with Every Plate for just $149 per meal by going to everyplate.com/podcast and enter code 49KKH. Okay, we are back with Dr. Rachel Courville. And so, Rachel, we are going to read a story that was sent in by a veterinary surgeon.
Can't
All
wait.
right. So, this is from Frank. He says, I'm a veterinary surgeon. It is a very similar process to humans, except we do not have subspecialties of surgery aside from large and small animal. I perform soft tissue, orthopedic, and neurosurgeries. This story comes from my second or early third year of residency. We are prepping to perform a thoracic duct ligation and subtotal pericardectomy
Yep.
for an idiopathic chylothorax.
Okay, someone translate that for me.
Yeah.
You want to explain what that is?
I'll take a whack at it. So there is, between all your lymph nodes, there are little vessels called lymphatic vessels, and they all kind of congregate in the chest, in one big vessel there. And sometimes what happens is there's something goes wrong with one of those vessels, and it bursts, and then you have a chest full of fluid. Good news is not cancer. Bad news is it's really hard to breathe with that happening. And so you can try to treat it conservatively, but sometimes that fails, and you got to go in and tie it off. And
Okay. So that's what he was doing. And he says, I was tasked with picking up heavy whipping cream to feed the patient prior to surgery to help visualize the lymphatics, and specifically the thoracic duct, because there's like a lot of fat, and that's fat is highlights the lymphatics, I guess.
Okay.
I showed up the morning of surgery with a can of whipped cream made with heavy whipping cream. This is a pressurized can of whipped cream.
Like you would shoot in your mouth.
Yeah. My mentor just looked at me and said, "Damn it, Frank, this is whipped cream." Not the type of cream he's supposed to get. My wonderful technician, though, saved the day and picked up heavy whipping cream for us.
It's an honest mistake. It is. It is difficult.
Mistake.
I think he feels bad. He said, I have never lived this down the rest of residency. And to this day, when I do surgery, I have to text my mentor that I bought the correct thing, and she laughs at me. Thankfully, the dog did very well. I tell the story to my interns and staff, and they just think it's great. Have a good laugh at my expense. I'm glad we can all laugh at your story, Frank. Thank you.
I think we've done the same thing when cooking. The first time we had to get whipping cream.
Oh, yeah.
You're at the store and you're like, what is the difference between these things?
Yeah.
Yeah.
Well, thank you for that story. You can anybody listening, you can send your stories to knockknockhigh@human-content.com. Rachel Courville, Dr. Courville, thank you so much for joining us. It's really been a pleasure. I want to make sure you tell people where to find you, because we could all use a little bit more vet med content in our life.
Thank you guys so much for having me. And I'm mainly on TikTok and Instagram, so you can find me there. I try to make funny content and educational content. So for pre-vet students, pet parents, everybody who could use a little bit more vet med in their life.
And that's Bella Vet, right?
Yep. Bella Vet DVM on TikTok, on Instagram, and then Bella Vet on TikTok.
Awesome. And Bella is the name of your dog?
She is the name of my little half-blind rescue dog. And so her name is Bella, and I'm her vet. So hence Bella Vet.
Oh, wonderful. Yeah. And do you have anything you want to tell pet owners listening? Any messages? Any advice?
Just tell us your dog ate wheat. That's totally it's totally fine if we can do that.
Just be honest.
Yeah.
Perfect.
And then I guess the only other thing, grapes are toxic. A lot of people don't know that. A lot of people know about chocolate, but grapes and some other things. The ASPCA has a grape toxic plant and food list. So if anyone ever needs it.
Oh, good to know.
Perfect. Yeah. And next time, if we talk to a veterinarian, we're gonna get the lowdown of how on earth you get a cat to eat pills.
Yeah.
It's
medications. Sounds
it's
impossible.
A challenge. It's a bit of a challenge sometimes.
You give it weed,
I guess,
then
they want to eat anything.
And then,
You never do that. We've learned that. You never do that.
Yes, this is not advice.
All right. Well, thanks again, Dr. Courville. It was a pleasure talking with you. Thanks for coming on. Do you feel like you're a better pet owner now?
I am not a pet owner, remember? You are a pet owner.
I'm a pet owner. You're just along for the ride.
That's right. It's your dog.
Yes. And I knew the grape thing. I knew that I know grape, well, mainly because, like, your mom is like dog
I just
extraordinaire.
learned it from
She's like
my
a
mom.
trainer and everything.
Yeah.
So no grapes, and like onions are another one.
Yeah.
That's the thing.
Basically, just maybe don't give your dog
Yes,
human
give
food.
dog food. I don't know.
Yeah.
We're not going to tell you what to do, but because
We don't know either, but
Yeah.
that's what seems the simplest
we
to
don't
me.
need a bunch of comments.
Yeah.
All right. Don't get mad at us. All right. We are responsible
It's just
pet
our
owners.
opinion.
That was it was so fun to hear the perspective of a veterinarian.
Yeah, it's funny how much overlap there is
Man.
and similarity.
I almost feel like I could go to a vet for my
Yeah.
medical care.
I mean, it makes sense.
I
Humans
think-
are just
yeah,
animals too.
right?
So.
I feel like we could get through it. It would be fine. Like I could. No. Okay. I certainly couldn't treat animals. I feel like vets would have an easier time treating humans
Yeah.
than humans than human doctors would
Treating animals.
I think so.
Mhm.
I don't know.
Well, we all
I
have to
don't think
learn
there's a
a
way to
little bit
test-
about human biology just in school and stuff, but we don't all have to learn about animal biology as
That's
much.
true.
So maybe
I don't know
they-
how to test this theory.
Yeah.
Probably nothing ethically could
I
be
don't
done
think any
to test
IRB
that.
would approve that.
No, I don't
experiment.
think so.
I don't know.
But it would be interesting.
Yeah.
Yeah, anyway.
Tell us what you think.
Yeah, let me know. If you have an IRB that would approve that kind of study, please get in touch with us. You can email us, knockknockhi@human-content.com. Or if you have any suggestions for black market medications, you can also email us too. Please don't do that. We don't need that. We don't need
I don't
to
want that in my
invite-
algorithms.
invite that kind of stuff. We're also on all the social media platforms. Just search us up, as our kid
As
would
our
say.
kids say.
Search it up. You can also hang out with us and our Human Content Podcast family on Instagram and TikTok at Human Content Pods. Shout out all the wonderful listeners. Thank you for listening. Thank you for being here, being part of our little family we got here. And thanks for leaving feedback and wonderful reviews. We also like that. If you subscribe and comment on your favorite podcasting app or on YouTube, we can give you a shout out like Gab-de-view.
Gabe.
Ga-
Gabe?
Gabe
No.
DeView. Gabe DeView. Gab DeView. Something like that. On YouTube said, I cannot overstate how much I enjoyed this guest. There isn't one guest I did not enjoy, but Dr. Manning was so witty, so quick with her tongue, and for me as a non-native speaker, she was so easy to understand. I mean, she was so to the point with her answers without losing personality. Very approachable, down-to-earth, great humor. Thanks a lot. I totally agree.
She is great, and she's very eloquent.
It was very fun to talk with her. It's very, very funny, too.
Yes.
Very funny.
Yeah.
Full video episodes of this podcast are up every week on my YouTube channel at Glaucomflecken. We also have a Patreon. Lots of fun perks, bonus episodes where we react to medical shows and movies. We got a little community, a little town, a little tiny growing city. It's great. We love it. We love it. We're active in it, and we have early ad-free episode access, interactive Q&A live stream events. What else? All the things.
Yeah, little
I don't know.
bonus episodes. And
Give us some suggestions, and
Yeah.
we'll think about it. Patreon.com/Glaucomflecken or go to Glaucomflecken.com. Speaking of Patreon community perks, shout out to all the Jonathans out there: Patrick, Lucia C, Sharon S, Omar, Edward K, Stephen G, Roskbox, Jonathan F, Marion W, Mr. Granddaddy, Caitlin C, Brianna L, Dr. J, Chaver W, Jonathan A, Leah D, KL, Rachel L, and Ann P. Virtual head nod to you all. Patreon roulette, random shout out to an emergency medicine tier patron. Shout out to Chris M for being a patron. Hi, Chris. Chris M, I should say. And thank you all for listening. We are your hosts, Will and Kristen Flannery, also known as the Glaucomfleckens. Special thanks to our guest today, Dr. Rachel Courville. Our executive producers are Will Flannery, Kristen Flannery, Aaron Corney, Rob Goldman, and Shanti Brook. Our editor and engineer is Jason Portizo. Our music is by Omar Binsvi. To learn about our Knock Knock High's program disclaimer and ethics policy, submission verification, licensing terms, and HIPAA release terms. And if you read one of them, you have to read all three, by the way.
Deal.
That's the only way to do it.
Them's
You can
the
go to
rules.
Glaucomflecken.com or reach out. Don't just read those HIPAA release terms. All right. You got to read the program disclaimer and ethics policy as well. I know some of you are doing that. That's not okay. And you're just ignoring the submission verification and licensing terms. You can't do that. You can't do. You can go to Glaucomflecken.com or reach out to us at human-content.com with any question, concerns, or medical jokes. Knock Knock High is a human content production.
Knock, knock. Goodbye.
Thanks for watching the episode. You can find more on that playlist over there. If you prefer to listen, or you just had your eyes dilated, you can binge full episodes wherever you get your podcasts. Or join the party over on Patreon, where you get early access episodes, hang out with us, get lots of exclusive bonus content. Hope you subscribe, leave a comment below. Let us know what you think.